All right, welcome. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the websites and apps you use every single day. We're going to get into the hidden machinery, the digital architecture that actually makes everything work. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You click Add to Cart, or Post, or you hit that little like button, and poof, something happens. The number on your cart goes up, your comment just appears. How does that simple click travel from your screen across the globe and back again in literally a fraction of a second?
Well, it turns out it's not magic at all. It's actually a really beautiful, kind of complex dance between your computer and some powerful server, all governed by a specific set of rules and patterns. And today, we're going to break down that dance step by step.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with the absolute basics, the rules of the road for the web. Then we'll jump into the server's engine room, where the real thinking happens. We'll look at the blueprint for organizing all this code, take a super detailed dive into an example with the servlet lifecycle, and then we'll wrap up by seeing how modern toolboxes, frameworks, put all these pieces together.
Okay, first things first. Before we can even think about building an app, we have to understand the ground rules, the fundamental protocols and languages that make the entire web possible in the first place.
So, this is a big one, because a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but they're not the same thing at all. The internet is the physical infrastructure. All the cables, the servers, the routers, it's the roads. The World Wide Web is the information space that exists on that infrastructure. It's the collection of websites and pages. So think of it like this. The internet is the highway system, and the web is all the cars and destinations on those highways.
So how do all those cars on the highway talk to each other? They use a language called HTTP. This is literally the language of the web. Your browser, which is the client, sends an HTTP request, basically saying, hey, can I please have this web page? The server gets that request, finds what you asked for, and sends back an HTTP response. It's this constant back-and-forth conversation, happening billions of times a second all over the world.
And this right here is how your request knows exactly where to go. A URL is just a super specific address. It starts with the protocol, the language we're speaking, in this case, secure HTTP. Then comes the domain, the name of the server we want to talk to. The path tells us which specific file we want on that server, and then you have these extra bits like query parameters that can pass along more info, like what you typed into a search bar. It's a full set of instructions for your browser.
Okay, so our request has been sent and it found its destination. Now we arrive at the server. This is the engine room. This is where a simple request for a document gets turned into a dynamic, personalized experience. This is where the app really thinks.
And here's the absolutely crucial part. All of this thinking happens completely behind the scenes, on the server. A language like PHP runs on that server to do things like grab your user profile from a database or check if a product is in stock. It builds a custom HTML page just for you in that moment, and then sends the finished product back to your browser. You, the user, never see that server code. You only see the final result.
Now, to handle thousands or even millions of requests at once, servers have to be incredibly efficient. So let's use an analogy. Think of a process like opening a whole new restaurant. It's a big, heavy operation. Now, a thread is like a single waiter inside that restaurant. When a new customer walks in, you don't build a whole new restaurant, right? No, you just have an available waiter take their order. It's way, way more efficient. This idea is key to understanding how modern web apps can handle so much traffic. So as these applications get bigger and more complex, you can imagine the code can get, well, messy, a total nightmare to manage. So developers came up with a brilliant blueprint to keep everything neat and organized. It's called the Model View Controller Pattern, or MVC for short.
The whole idea here is to separate your worries. The model is all about the data, what your application knows. Think of it as the brain. The view is all about how things look. It's the user interface, the pretty face of the application. And then you have the controller, who's like the traffic cop in the middle. It takes all the incoming requests, tells the model what to do, and then picks the right view to show the user.
This restaurant analogy just makes it all click. You, the customer, make a request. You place an order. The waiter, our controller, takes that order. Now, the waiter doesn't cook the food, right? They give the order to the chef, who is our model. The chef works with the data, the ingredients, and prepares the dish. Then the waiter takes that finished dish, our view, and brings it out to you. It's a perfect system that keeps the whole kitchen running smoothly.
Okay, so we've got the blueprint down. Now let's get really specific and look at a classic example of a controller from the Java world, the servlet. This is going to give us a super detailed look at how a server efficiently handles a request from the very beginning to the very end. So what is a servlet? In short, it's a special kind of Java program that is literally designed to live on a web server and do one thing: handle HTTP requests. It is the perfect real-world example of the controller in our MVC pattern. Its entire reason for existing is to field a request, get the work done, and coordinate the response.
Now, here's the really important part. A servlet has a very specific life. The web server, or container, manages it. First, it gets loaded. Then, its init method is called just one time. This is for setup. After that, its service method is called for every single user request that comes in. Finally, when the server is shutting down, the destroy method is called. Again, just once. That one-time setup is the secret to its efficiency.
So let's zoom in on that first step in it. This method is designed to run only once, right when the servlet is born. This is where you put all the heavy, time-consuming setup tasks, like making a connection to a database. You do it once here so you don't have to waste time doing it for every single person who clicks on your site. It's all about being efficient from the start.
Next up is the service method, and this is the real workhorse. This method gets called for every single user request. It's the main event. It gets handed two things: a request object, which has all the details about what the user wants, and a response object, which is what it'll use to send the answer back. This method has to be fast because it's handling all the live traffic. And finally, at the end of its life, when the application is shutting down, the destroy method gets called. This is just good housekeeping. It's the servlet's one last chance to clean up after itself. That database connection you opened way back in the init method, this is where you close it to free up resources and make sure everything shuts down cleanly.
So understanding all those low-level details is awesome. But let's be real, most developers today aren't building everything from scratch. They use frameworks, which are basically powerful toolboxes that give you a ready-made structure based on patterns like MVC.
Let's look at two of the heavyweights. You've got Spring for Java, which is an absolute powerhouse for huge enterprise-level apps. Its key feature is something called dependency injection, which is just a fancy way of saying it's really good at managing how all the pieces of your code fit together. Then you have Django for Python, which has a batteries-included philosophy. That means it comes with almost everything you need right out of the box, like an admin panel, which saves a ton of time.
And just to show you what that rapid development looks like, with a framework like Django, you can go from absolutely nothing to a running web server in 5 simple commands. The framework handles all the boring setup stuff for you. It creates the project, sets up the database, and even starts a test server. That frees you up to focus on what makes your app unique.
So when you put it all together, you can see that web apps are really built in layers. At the very bottom, you have those universal rules like HTTP. On top of that, you have server logic that's organized with smart patterns like MVC, and at the very top, you have these powerful frameworks that bundle all that knowledge together so we can build amazing things faster than ever before.
So the next time you're on your favorite website and you click a button, just stop for a second. See if you can picture it. Can you see that HTTP request firing from your browser? Can you imagine the controller on some server waking up, talking to the model, picking a view, and sending it all back just for you? The whole elegant dance is there, happening silently behind every single click.